Oh, yeah. Well, Jim, Sean, things have really ramped up significantly over the last couple of hours. Take a look behind me, and what we've seen is constant movement by what is a strong show of force on the ground here, just outside that detention center you were talking about. We know that there are dozens, if not hundreds, of protesters that are trying to make their way down to this area, and for a full block, the LAPD has everything closed down here as concerns grow that there could be another night of confrontations and chaos down here. And you're looking right now at some of the National Guard on the ground, about 300 at this point, just beyond the police line here. I can tell you that they are serving right now, and those Marines that we've talked about, guys, they are coming in, but we're told that's only going to be temporary, that they're going to be here until more National Guard troops make their way in. One other quick note, I can tell you that LAPD has told us over the weekend at least 9 officers were injured. None of those injuries considered life threatening. It is setting up again, Jim, Sean, to be a very tense evening into nightfall here.
our time for justice, but we must do it in a way that we demonstrate the power of working people across this country and stand united against. Will you turn?
All right, you've been listening to David Huerta there, the president of SEIU. As you know, that he was detained on Friday after that immigration raid. He was talking about his experience being detained and what he saw while he was detained there in the federal building. But again, he's just saying that he just wants to go home now, take a shower, and be with his family. All
right, let's get to NBC4's Karma Dickerson, who joins us live from the federal building now with more on the protests that remain peaceful, at least for now. Karma?
It's a chaotic and contentious scene that's unfolding right across from the federal building, where protesters are coming face to face with some federal officers, including members of the California National Guard. We've seen them yelling things at the National Guard, as the National Guard has largely just stayed in that formation outside of the federal building. Now, keep in mind, this federal building has been largely defaced on every single sign, so just the visual as you drive by is pretty jarring. Then, of course, there are people taking over pretty much every lane of traffic in one direction. The other direction, cars still trying to get by. Now, this crowd hasn't just stayed in one place. They've moved throughout this area, and some of it splintered into different marches throughout the community. At one point, just about 10 minutes ago, this crowd shifted in a major way over to the left-hand side of your screen, and right there is the freeway. They crowded the freeway. The notable thing is police have barricaded all of those entrances. There's a strong police presence, and while there are a lot of police officers and police cars blocking that area, there was a huge crowd of at least over 100 people. They were able to keep the crowd off the freeway, and the crowd turned back, some of them stopping here where you see them now, and other parts of the crowd going to other parts of downtown right now. So what we're hearing right now are a lot of different chants, including National Guard out of LA, ICE out of LA, bring them home is what they're chanting now. A lot of people, we haven't seen any violent confrontations or interactions like that, but a lot of emotions and a lot of concerns from the people out here as they're milling around outside of the federal building, taking over a lane of traffic that at this point has not yet been shut down.
All right, Karma Dickerson, thank you very much for that. We have new details on those Marines now on the way to Los Angeles as we continue to look at those live images there in downtown LA. NBC4's Conan Nolan is live in the newsroom with breaking new developments. And Conan, we're talking about 700 Marines that are headed to LA.
That's right. And this may be unprecedented. We can't recall the last time the United States Marines were deployed for law enforcement purposes against, American citizens. Now, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, on Saturday, after the initial deployment from the White House of National Guard troops, said that the Marines were being held at bay, possibly mobilized. The difference between activation and mobilization and deployment, a fine line between the three, but we have word that they are now on their way from 29 Palms in San Bernardino County to Los Angeles. This after the president earlier said that things had calmed down in the streets of LA.
President Donald Trump this afternoon at an event designed to highlight his budget bill, pivoting quickly to the ongoing dispute with California Governor Gavin Newsom over the president's rare and controversial federalizing of the California National Guard, something Mr. Trump said 4 years ago in a town hall that he is not authorized to do as president. He's changed his mind.
You said, quote, "We have to go by the laws. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor." What changed now? Why is this situation different to not consult with Governor Newsom about this?
Well, the biggest change from that statement is we have an incompetent governor. So I talked about governors, but I didn't talk about he's an incompetent governor. Look at the job he's doing in California.
The president saying conditions had clearly deteriorated in parts of LA's Civic Center, that help was needed.
It's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time. It's still simmering a little bit, but not very much.
Nevertheless, the president appears to have ratcheted up the federal response with the activation of 700 U.S. Marines out of the 29 Palms Marine Corps base in San Bernardino County. The move, confirmed by NBC News, an apparent response to a lawsuit filed by the state of California arguing Mr. Trump violated the Constitution by deploying the military without a request from the governor, that the legal standard for the president to act on his own did not exist. California Attorney General Rob Bonta.
no doubt there's no rebellion, there's no invasion, there is no inability for the president with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. So we just think you apply the clear, unambiguous reading of the statute. We don't think this is a very close case at all.
Not so fast, says law professor Jessica Levinson of Loyola.
We're looking at a federal statute that is a broad grant of authority for the President of the United States. Judges, particularly unelected judges, tend not to like to substitute their own judgment on issues of national security for the judgment of the President of the United States.
As for David Huerta, who was just recently released by authorities, the president of Service Employees International Union California, 750,000 members, from researchers at UCLA to janitors. He is a heavyweight in California politics, which is why Senators Adam Schiff, Alex Padilla, and Chuck Schumer today requested that he be released. I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News.
All right, Conan, thanks. And stay with NBC4 for the ongoing ICE protest and unrest in and around Los Angeles. Our coverage continues with a special section dedicated to immigration right now on our website, NBCLA.com, and on our NBCLA app.
All right, coming up next here at 3.
of the place of graduation being targeted. Many of us here are immigrants or children of immigrants. We would be hypocrites if we took a step backwards from the position of protecting those who today face what our parents or ourselves faced years ago.
And on our screen right now, the district has shared some contact information for LAUSD families and staff, including free legal support if needed. The superintendent says security-like perimeters are set up at every graduation and ceremony site. Carvalho also says parents will be able to stay at any of these venues until they feel safe to leave. He also emphasized the importance of summer school, promising more programs to limit travel time for students and parents, as well as offering some online options.
Meantime, relatives of the people detained in recent immigration raids came together today looking for answers about their loved ones. NBC4 spoke to one woman whose father was detained Friday in downtown LA's Fashion District. Days later, she still doesn't know where he's located.
A bit empty because there's space missing in our family.
How many of you are in the family?
I have 3 younger brothers. Yes.
What worries you most, knowing that your dad is not here for them?
I'd say their emotional state, because just like me, they're very attached to my father.
Many people who came out today say they're hiring attorneys to fight for the release of their family members.
All right, we're going to switch gears here, folks, as we give you a live look right now from our home here at Universal City. Meteorologist Tiffany Olmo is here, breaking down your first alert forecast on this Monday.
Okay, we're here in front of the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles, where you can see some National Guard troops are still stationed outside, along with some police officers. It's been mostly calm here this morning, a day after major protests yesterday resulted in skirmishes between officers and demonstrators, including over here, the 101 Freeway being shut down for hours by protesters, some of whom threw concrete and other projectiles at the California Highway Patrol officers who responded. Today, some more protests are planned here in Los Angeles. Right now, some labor groups down the street are gathering to walk down here. Some students have said that they were going to do a walkout today, but as of right now, things remain calm, although downtown is marred by graffiti as far as you can see. And the smell of the Waymo cars that were burned yesterday, these automatic autonomous vehicles, was still hanging in the air earlier this morning. So right now, we're just waiting to see if the protesters will show up like they did yesterday.
some of the things you're reading about in Los Angeles. Thank goodness we sent out some wonderful National Guard. They've really helped, and a lot of problems they were having out there. They were afraid to do anything, and we sent out the troops, and they've done a fantastic job. So I want to thank them very much.
In 2020, when you were talking about unrest in American cities, you said, quote, "We have to go by the laws. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor." What changed now? Why is this situation different to not consult with Governor Newsom about this?
Well, the biggest change from that statement is we have an incompetent governor. So I talked about governors, but I didn't talk about he's an incompetent governor. Look at the job he's doing in California. He's destroying one of our great states. And if I didn't get involved, if we didn't bring the Guard in, and we would bring more in if we needed it, because we have to make sure there's going to be law and order. You had a disaster happening.
Are you going to deploy Marines in California?
We'll see what happens. I mean, I think we have it very well under control. I think it would have been a very bad situation. It was heading in the wrong direction. It's now heading in the right direction. And we hope to have the support of Gavin, because Gavin's the big beneficiary as we straighten out his problems. I mean, his state is a mess.
What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed? I think his primary crime is running for governor, because he's done such a bad job.
And you know what I mean? Kind of, why do they have a different set of rules than we do? They can be down there, play window, but we can't be here right now.
Sanctuary for all! I believe that we will win! I believe that we will win!
Unite and fight for immigrant rights!
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 No justice, no peace, no ICE or police!
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 Assalamu alaikum!
Assalamu alaikum!
To my community, my comrades, and my family, my human family, peace and blessings be with you all in these times of deep unrest, systemic betrayal, and insane injustice. How are you feeling today? Is anybody feeling angry?
Yeah!
Is anybody feeling strong?
Yeah!
Is anybody feeling united? We come together today to reject in totality the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement. We come together today to take a bold and unified stand against this empire that uses ICE as a tool of fear and division, as a vicious weapon that tears families apart, upends lives, shreds the dignity of the working class, and threatens the well-being of our entire nation. Formed as a safe haven for immigrants on stolen land, we seem to have lost sight of our potential as a country. It is not our ability to make profits or to have the most lethal and heavily funded military in the world that makes us a powerful nation. It is not our ability to strong arm and extract resources from our fellow nations that makes us secure. It is definitely not our borders and cruel immigration policies that keep our citizens safe. Our country has lost its purpose and function as a member of this world, so it is now on us to call out its dysfunction and rebuild the system from the ground up. Our country and our world will not be changed for the better by the same systems that aren't currently working. Our country and our world will be changed by us. We the people are realizing that we are more alike than we will ever be different, and that our liberation is bound together as tightly as our DNA. Our need to be together, to rise together, and to win together is far greater than their desire to keep us separated, divided, fearful, and hopeless.
That's right!
Our intifada, our uprising, is global and it is only growing. We command our comrades around the world and take inspiration from our freedom fighters. From our freedom fighters for standing up to injustice. Standing up to injustice and tyranny, whether they be in LA or Gaza. We honor the tribes who stewarded these Kentucky lands before our ancestors colonized them. The Shawnee, Cherokee, and Chickasaw. unchecked power and laws that do not represent the people, but instead protect the property and financial interests of an authoritarian billionaire ruling class. We come together today to say, fuck Israel! All the systems of apartheid, oppression, ethnic cleansing, propaganda, brainwashing, and legalized hatred. We honor all our martyrs who we lost to this genocide that is now in its 612th day. We honor the innocent children and families who've been murdered in Palestine from within the same dangerous network that now threatens our own innocent children and families here in America. There is no more waiting for our bought and sold corporate government to grow a conscience or develop compassion. We are the ones we have been waiting on. While we are still able, we are here today to exercise our rights to free speech as citizens, to safely convene, protest, and let our voices be heard. And we say that we will not tolerate the cancerous agency that is ICE, because it is a threat to us all. We will not tolerate the greed, saturated, and inhumane governments of the USA and Israel, because they are a threat to the whole world. We have had enough of domination, abuse of power, manipulation, and complete attention, and thank you for standing and rising and being together. There is only one solution. There is only one solution. Intifada revolution. Intifada revolution. There is only one solution. There is only one solution. Intifada revolution. Intifada revolution. Intifada, intifada. Intifada, intifada.
Who was it?
He showed up with a MAGA hat and he walked right into the corner there. What did he think was going to happen?
Well, ladies, we still have a large crowd here. Things have been ramping up rather significantly. Protesters just outside the federal courthouse. So we'll walk you in and take a look up against the doors. You've got not only police, but you've also got some of those National Guard troops blocking things here. A bit of push back and forth, but nothing serious, no serious altercations to this point. Still a lot of concern that this afternoon could turn into another evening of confrontations and chaos in downtown Los Angeles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check, check, test, test. Say there are a few hundred people here, not near what we enough to make a difference and to close down sections of the downtown area. Let's talk a little bit about those 700 Marines. We know that they are coming in, but only on a temporary basis. We've been told that they are going to be here until more of the National Guard, the California National Guard troops, make their way in. Ladies.
Constitution by deploying the military without a request from the governor, that the legal standard for the president to act on his own did not exist. California Attorney General Rob Bonta.
No doubt there's no rebellion, there's no invasion, there is no inability for the president with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. So we just think you apply the clear, unambiguous reading of the statute. We don't think this is a very close case at all.
Not so fast, says law professor Jessica Levinson of Loyola.
We're looking at a federal statute that is a broad grant of authority for the President of the United States.
Once again, Jessica Levinson of Loyola Law School saying it's going to be a tough sledding, possibly, for the lawsuit going forward because so many judges yield so much power to the commander-in-chief. Once again, though, those 700 Marines, we understand they're headed to Camp Pendleton in San Diego County. Whether they show up on the streets of Los Angeles, still to be determined. I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News.
Hey, Conan, before we let you go, let's talk about David Huerta being released on bond. We're hearing Senator Chuck Schumer is getting involved. Talk about the significance of that there.
Right. David Huerta represents SEIU, Service Employees International Union, California, 750,000 members. That everything from researchers at UCLA to janitors. It is a huge, huge union, and they're a huge force within California politics, specifically the Democratic Party. I talked to Bill Asaley, who's the U.S. attorney, Republican, who, when he said that when he was arrested, that is, Mr. Huerta, they didn't know who he was, and they got all sorts of, requests from the mayor, from the governor, from Senators Alex Padilla and Adam Schiff, as well as Chuck Schumer, just today, trying to get his status, trying to get him released. They didn't. He said to us, "Hey, we don't care who he is. He was going to be prosecuted. He still probably will be." But David Huerta is a major force in California politics, which is why his arrest certainly rung the bell for Democrats up and down the state.
All right, Conan, appreciate it. More to come. Thank you.
Well, hundreds of people showed up to rally in downtown L.A. in support of Huerta. They met in Grant Park and then marched to the Federal Building. That's where NBC4's Karma Dickerson is standing by for us. Karma, looks like that crowd is growing.
We're coming to you from the Federal Building, where there is an ongoing demonstration of people who have a lot of emotions out here today. We're hearing a lot of anger and a lot of frustration, a lot of that directed right at those federal officers that are lined up in front of the building. We can see the National Guard in uniform, other federal police protecting this building. For the most part, we haven't seen them directly engage unless the crowd tries to come closer. That happened a little while ago where some members of the crowd from the right side tried to push in, but other than that, it's mostly the crowd yelling, chanting towards those officers. A little bit further down, if we take a look over to the left, that is the 101 freeway, and there is a massive police presence. That is Highway Patrol there making a stand on the streets. They were very firm. Nobody was getting on the freeway. A large crowd moved in their area and police methodically moved them back. We have not really seen any violent confrontations. We did see some sort of skirmish or scuffle break out in the crowd. It's unclear what exactly unfolded there, but in terms of law enforcement versus the crowd, we haven't seen anything really get physical. It has gotten quite loud. There's a lot of motorcycle revving, car doing spins throughout the area. We we should note that this is Los Angeles Street, and it is not closed off. If you were to turn onto Los Angeles Street, you're going to find yourself right in the middle of this at Los Angeles and Temple. That's just regular city streets right there. So it's unclear why exactly there's no effort to keep ordinary drivers off this street, but that is something people should be aware of if they're coming through this area. So police seem to be keeping an eye on this from the distance, from the perimeter, none of the interactions. We want to show you some video from earlier. This was in Grand Park. This was a group of people coming out in support of David Huerta. We talked a little bit about the case involving him, that massive labor union presence, and they were coming out and calling for Huerta's release. Dolores Huerta did speak at that event, the civil rights icon, the president of the NAACP. So that was something that happened about 3 hours ago now at this point. Then from there we did see other protests, other rallies did break off and splinter and new groups created. So in any given place in downtown you might find a small group of people gathering, but for now this looks like where we're finding most of the people directing their energy right here in front of the Federal Building in downtown. Reporting live, I'm Carmen Dickerson, NBC4 News.
I'm Alex Rozier in downtown Los Angeles. After this weekend's mostly peaceful protest, there was some vandalism that was left behind. I'll show you what we saw today, straight ahead.
And we had a
We also stand in solidarity with our Haitian communities who are also being targeted because of their skin. Let us be clear what this is about. This is racism. It's always been about racism. We also stand in solidarity with our Muslim brethren who's being attacked with the Islamophobia, the xenophobia of putting forth evidence that has no merit about what they believe. We also stand against this racist regime of bringing forth law enforcement National Guards to escalate and to bring more terror to people who want to have a life to live. It's abuse of power. When is impeachment going to happen? When is lawmakers going to rise up and see exactly what this is? This guy is nothing but the reincarnation of Hitler. Yes. This guy is nothing more or less than having the Ku Klux Klan reincarnated, sitting behind the White House door. White House. True. True. So we need to have everyone that's in this country to rise up and take these streets. Yes. And take the streets and be unapologetic. Because when they go after them, they're going to come after us. Yes. That's right. When they go after our
At that large crowd of protesters that are on Los Angeles Street right now. We are at the intersection of Los Angeles and Aliso, not far from City Hall. So as you can see, the crowds have once again returned tonight. But after a few incidents of vandalism, they have cleared some of the graffiti that took place here over the weekend. But we will see what tonight brings downtown. Reporting live, I'm Alex Rozier, NBC4 News.
Alex, thank you. This is a live look now from News Chopper 4 of the crowd there in front of the federal courthouse in downtown Los Angeles. Let's get to Eliana Moreno. Eliana?
And Michael, this is on the west side of the building, so we're just off of Los Angeles Street, south of the 101 freeway. You see the National Guard right there, LAPD right next to them. They're just standing firm there at the entrances to the courthouse, not engaging with the crowd, but we do have some crowd members that are clearly very passionate, yelling things at them. As I went out the shot, you'll get a better idea of how large this crowd is. Earlier when the LAPD flew overhead, they had it at about 300 people, but it has grown since then. This, of course, taking up all lanes of Los Angeles Street, but there's no roadblocks, so you still have members of the public who are unaware of what's going on, and they're just driving through, but trying to drive through very carefully, of course, as to not run anyone over. I'm going to move this shot over to the 101 freeway. I want to show you what that looks like. You're going to see a very heavy police presence on the Los Angeles overpass to the 101 freeway. You're also going to see lots of LAPD as well as CHP here on the on-ramps and off-ramps around the area. So at this point, you can get through in both directions of the 101 freeway, but understandably, it's going to be very slow, and you're not necessarily going to want to exit here through the area because you could get stuck in some of these delays. That's the latest here from downtown Los Angeles and News Chopper 4. I'm Eliana Moreno. Back to you in the studio.
Eliana, those on-ramps are very carefully protected. Are there others nearby where potentially marchers could try to access the freeway? We know this has been a tactic they've used in the past.
Yeah, so this is where the crowd is closest to, so I think that is why officers are out here with such a strong force. But I'm going to widen out. I want to take a look at some of the nearby on-ramps. Again, this is going to be Los Angeles Street. Another busy one is Alameda. I'll go ahead and push over to that one. So you can see that at Alameda, we also have a very heavy police presence. Main Street is also a busy one. So it seems like it's just these three major streets here that are closest to the federal building. They're going to be most impacted by these delays.
All right, Eliana, thank you. We will check back in with you shortly. Right now, we want to take you outside, give you a view from our home here in Universal City. You see a little bit of
Cool, thank you. All right, copy. With the officers there? Okay, cool, will do. It is, yeah, they're just on the south side of it. Yeah. Yeah, so here's the officers who just arrived. We have the So they just arrived, so they may be, you know, swapping out with some officers, perhaps. Yeah. which is just on the south side of the federal building. And now I'm seeing officers from the LAPD's 21 divisions here. So we're not only talking about officers from the Central Division, I'm seeing officers arriving from areas as far as West Los Angeles and the San Fernando Valley. Now, these officers are located just to the east of where we still have a very large crowd that is demonstrating here in front of the federal building on the west side of it, just off of Los Angeles Street. This crowd is approximately 500 people, perhaps even more. And just beyond that, I'm going to show you what the 101 freeway looks like. You can see that all of these officers are at the ready in case the demonstrators were to try to get on the freeway. At this point, there does not appear to be that intention, but of course, out of an abundance of caution, you do see these officers that are now blocking some of the on-ramps and off-ramps to make sure that the demonstration doesn't make its way to the highway. That's latest here from downtown Los Angeles to News Chopper 4. I'm Eliana Marino. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Atlanta, thank you. Here's a look at some of the stories making news around Southern California at our Fast Forward 4. Former Orange County